ஸ்னாப் எடுத்துக்க சார் இல்லையா
சார்
இது பண்ண ஸ்னாப் எடுத்துங்க இப்போ பேங்கில் இருக்குது இப்போ ஸ்னாப் எடுக்கலாம் இன்னைக்கு டே 2 கூட எடுக்கணும் அப்போ இட் கவுண்ட்ஸ் இல்லை டே 1 டே 2 டே 3 டே 4 எடுக்கலாம் அப்படிங்களா ஸ்பீக்கர் அவர் அனுப்பிச்சு
அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட் வருது லைவ் போட்டேன்
இல்லை சார் 5 பேர் புது ஃபேக்கல்ட்டி புது ஸ்பீக்கர் இல்லை ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக டேட்டு அப்போ ஃபோட்டோ இல்லைன்னா நமக்கு யூ கேன் ரீகலெக்ட் இட்
டிஸ்பிளே ரிப்போர்ட்
சரி నిన్న రాలేదు ఇద్దరు దాంట్లో ఓకే నువ్వు చెప్పినావు ఎవరు తగ్గించేసి
I want you to be quiet because given that I've already expended a lot of energy in the first session, you can already hear from the voice. I can't keep speaking, so I want you to be quiet. I'll give you time when you can talk within yourself, but not right now. So session 3 is on AI-assisted teaching, learning assessment. So the target what is here is empowering educators and students with intelligent tools. Clearly translates to not one person, but either of the parties we need to teach. If you have taken like if you have seen curriculum in US or Europe and other countries, even in India we have courses pre-requisites. What the students are supposed to know before they enter the class. But in most of the Indian context that is missing. Like in terms of this AI-assisted teaching, if only you are using AI, the student is not aware of what your expectations are. So when we do assessment for students, and when students don't present up to mark, even if you have AI, why can't you take the help of AI? But the question here is, both the parties should be known. So the first Earlier days, it was kind of, it's only like mode to mode. Teacher and student, student and teacher. The relationship is between only two parties. But right now, it has gone into a triangulation mode where AI is involved. So AI can actually help you evaluate your content, give feedback and so on. For example, I was making this PPT for 4 sessions. I think never in my life I have given, maybe back to back I have given 2 sessions in one of the FDP, the EIT, but however, I have not given an entire day session. This is the first time in my life I am giving an entire day session to the audience. So point being, I do have a full-time job, I do have 2 PhD scholars, and I do have other commitments, personal commitments as well, right? And until Friday, some professional commitment completely busy. We are managing some workshop. Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to Excel, I'm going to do real estate. Saturday, Sunday, I was sick. So I could not even take my system. So the only day I had to prepare this PPT is yesterday. Besides having class and besides having a lot of commitments. So in most of the cases, I think when you have minimal amount of time, your efficiency is much better. Now, did I have content in mind? Yes, I did have content in mind. But there are certain topics, for instance, session 1, it is kind of, I am taking something very general. I am not an expert, I know certain things in that, but that's not something I usually speak. So I wanted somebody's help. Did I have time or expert whom I can go and ask, can you help me with the content? Nobody is going to help me. So I made a PowerPoint. I uploaded it on ChatGPT. I did give the title of FTP, right? This is the FTP I am going to deliver on. This is the type. This is my faculty audience. So see, the content is fine now. Then ChatGPT saying the flow is good, but here this is there. Then I am telling to ChatGPT what you are saying is right, but here I am going to have this session. I am going to provide this example where I am not good. Then it's also analyzing. See, you put this picture in this particular slide. That's aligned with the content, but not so relevant. Then I have to tell the ChatGPT, see, you can give a lot of correction, but I don't have time to do it, so keep it minimal. I'm telling to my model, is it fine? Is it power packed? Is my content valuable? Right? So AI can actually assist in your content. I'll show you a method how to do that. Human and human principle ensures accountability. As I said, when you are using AI, do not depend on it completely. Have some human accountability of whatever it is producing. Does it make sense to me? So in the morning, I make PPT. Until night, I'm making PPT of 4 sessions back, ensuring it looks good, everything. But to be very frank, I never had a single minute to go through this content until I started speaking to you. But when ChatGPT is making, it's giving a lot of jargons, technical terms, right? When I'm asking ChatGPT, see, give me concept notes or handout, I was overconfident. I thought I have a travel time of 1.5 hours to Palmar, I'm going to read it. But obviously, I had other option of having a beautiful visual while coming to Palmar. I did not read the handout. But the point is, little bit when it is making or giving content, it's a fire. This should be too much for the audience. Even if they're not listening to me, they're going to read. It's too much for the audience. You need to tweak that. See, at first, until I came in the morning, I spoke with your professor. I did not have a clue of who the audience is. I know it's faculty, but I'm not sure it's a mixed audience because sometimes at my institute, we used to have open audience where it's for teachers, everybody are there. There are also research scholars. So I was not sure who are the audience. So according to your audience, you can step up the content. So if I'm going to talk the same talk in some other institute, where already they know a lot of AI, let's assume like that, then the talk will be different. Then the things would be different. Right? So you can actually bring the human look and principle because you are the judgmental factor. Because AI doesn't know how your college is or what is the kind of knowledge you are having, where you are coming from, what your backgrounds are, or where you your PhD from. AI knows nothing. But I can tell you, I see this content, this English, what are you using is too much for my audience. Or what you are producing is like, for me it's too much. What about my audience? If I can't relate, how I can make my audience relate? Automation of routine tasks, preservation of academic judgment. See, for instance, let's assume that you are every day doing a task, or like writing an email. Every day you are supposed to drop a certain email. In that case, you can automate that particular task. In this particular session, I'm not like going to tell you how to automate, but I'm saying in your regular task as a faculty, you can automate certain things that if I start this will be done. See, most of the cases, you've seen content creators on YouTube, right? You know, every 2 days once or 3 days once they are posting content. You really think someone is sitting over there uploading the video, they are doing clip? No. What they are going to do is that they are going to upload a set of videos and then they will have it scheduled. Okay, schedule it for morning 6 a.m. Indian time, upload this video. It will automatically happen in the background. Right? So even Gmail, you have certain settings where you can schedule your email that send this because this person will be sleeping. Right? So whichever email I am sending, send to this person later point of time, not right now. So automation, right? So there are two different platforms which I am going to show you, Swayam Analytics and Disha platform. So Swayam Analytics, what it does is that, how many of you are aware of this platform called Swayam? Swayam is just like your NPTEL, where courses are online. So most of the cases we try to enroll. Can you please not talk? Because I am unable to put out my voice. Because if you are talking validly, it becomes very difficult for me to talk. Right? You have to write and talk a little next. Let's don't talk. Right? So, Swayam platform is somewhere where every single participant enrolls, right? So in Swayam platform, first of all, you're creating a login, you're bringing your credentials. It's asking you whether you are a BTech, you're a PG student, PhD, education, etc., etc., right? Now, how at the end of the time, a success of the course is quantified. Let me assume in this specific Swayam course, there are 7,000 to 8,000 people who could have enrolled the course. Out of 7,000 people, maybe initially 2,000 people, after 1 week only they left the course. After another week, another 2,000 people left. Finally, those who actually completed and got certificate, see, Swayam is audit plus certificate, right? So you can do either of both of the things. This dashboard and analytics of Swayam can understand participant interaction. How long are they watching the complete video? Again, I'm getting back to YouTube so that it's relatable to you. How a YouTube content video creator gets money is that not that you skip and see the video. No. See, they have revenues from different modes. One of the modes is that you watch the video completely and there are 2 ads which are placed. So their revenues from that ads. Right? Similarly, Swayam also has analytics which shows that how many people have started this course, how many people finished this course. Then we are also putting advertisement. This many 90% of the people who have enrolled this course are successfully completed. 7 years successfully this has run. 8 years successfully it has run. So next time, when you go onto the platform, you choose the course believing that the professor is great. True. Psychologically, the platform kind of helps you to decide whether you want to take the course or not. You see the review of the students, you see how many people have taken, so Swayam is there. And then you have Disha platform, data tasks, both for state level monitoring. But I'm saying the goodness of past 15 or 20 years that most of the things has been digitized in India, which means that you have a portal. There is this Disha Diksha portal. So in this Diksha portal, there is another. This is kind of an Android app, but the actual portal shows in state how many courses are going, what is running, all these things. So it lets both the user and also the administrator. Administrator is the government who is funding all those things. How it is running, how much successful things are gone, all those things, analytics can be done. How it is useful for educator? For an educator, it is useful. For instance, if your administration has digitized all the data, right? Usually we do it manually, right? What if you enter into Excel and you bring AI for analytics? Okay, 2,000 people joined our project. This many people got placed. This many people went for higher education. This many people went for entrepreneurship. So for that, data collection is very, very important. Whenever we are talking about AI, one of the important things is data. So how many people went for what? Based on that, you get percentage of analytics. That's when even any administration can show that 100% placement. But is that true? It's not even true for IITs. The trueness or greatness of the message is that they're able to get the data from the student. How many is going for higher studies? How many is going for further public service, entrepreneurship? But the funniest part in this generation is that when trying to collect data, one of the professors said, "Ma'am, the problem with collecting data is that some students said, I want to take a break." Now, where will you put this data into, when you're mapping a data, that whether he has got placed, this is not about that category. This generation is beyond that. They are like, I want to take a break, it's too much for me, I want to travel. That's also there. But yeah, data helps you to decide better. Your data is everywhere. Right from your all the online portals where you're purchasing your things, letting user to decide whether the product is good or not, the reviews. Earlier only reviews used to be there. Now AI is there to give you summary. 50% of the customers are saying the product is very good, but however they are finding the product is not durable. It gives you summary. AI has made us brilliant at the same time really lazy. That it gives you summaries, you just read and you don't even have to read too much. You just have to know things, right? So these two things are there. So the triangular dynamic, what I said, looks like this. Earlier, there is teacher, there is student. The interaction is only between the teacher and the student, right? But now there is AI. The teacher is enabled. The teacher doesn't have to teach too much. The teacher says something and it is kind of individually assessed in the sense that who wants what kind of knowledge. The AI can actually be that particular teacher because when you take like foreign universities, there are very less number of teacher to student ratio. If you are into another banking system, I am not into that academic work, administrative work, but I know a little bit of NRI, which also takes one of the major factors is student to teacher ratio. Some of the biggest institutes in the country lose marks for student to teacher ratio. It's like 18:1. But our Indian system is like 70:1, 100:1. So you can't even blame the teacher that the teacher is able to understand the whole class. How do you cater to the needs of the student? This student needs this. You don't even remember the name of all the students at one go, right? So AI is there to make you understand what kind of assistance one student needs based on the data. Not like randomly you're giving him, but based on the data. The data what we're talking is assessment marks over here, right? So the faculty workload. I've been teaching you that AI is important, but why it is important, and specifically for faculty. Given the workload of us, right? Our face-to-face teaching takes substantial portion of our time. 40% of our time goes into teaching. Rest substantial portion goes 20% into grading, correct the paper. You're not able to understand their handwriting. You are trying to understand what the person has written. Or you are trying to remember the question, grade it, enter it, upload it before the deadlines, meet with the meetings, and then if you see out of all these things, the lesson planning takes 15%, Your admin planning and others meetings, they keep meetings often. I even speak my departmental centers meeting today because I'm here. But you have certain meetings that I to see where your meetings takes a lot of time. 18% goes into meeting. But it is only 7% where we get to deal with students, their behaviors. As a faculty, we are not able to understand the mood of the class. Your learning would not be, the points you're trying to make would not be complete. If I don't understand that you're all drowsy at this point after lunch, and I keep on saying important points, I'm not trying to engage you or ask you questions, you will be gone into sleep. Whatever I'm saying is gone in the air, correct? So, this particular model, traditional model is what is existing, but what kind of model we want is behavior management students support. You should be enabler. You should support students to make them learn better, right? So, if you are using automation or AI, you can actually cut down your work from 5 to 8 hours. How? In the previous session, I showed you how to upload PDF, how to make PPT. Instead of you skimming down which is important, what kind of material I want, that can actually cut down your time. You at least take the record PDF, then you go to home, upload all this in Google and make a PPT, then you have skeleton there, then you make a PPT in your own note, or present that PPT if you are very confident enough. You don't at all have time, right? See, what this will do for you is that when you cut down 5 to 8 hours per week, then that essentially brings you time to do research, that essentially cuts down your anxiety, specifically women who has to manage both professionally and personally. You don't have time to even read a PDF. You're going and emotionally you're rendering to your family, you're cooking, you're taking care of the emotional needs of the family. You put it into ChatGPT, count, check, fine. There is some assistant for you. You know? Certain times, AI can also help you as a personal emotional assistance. You know? Someone you don't know who to share with, you're feeling at this point. You don't know what kind of judgment you want to take towards a student. You still have someone to listen to that, whatever you're writing. It's not, yes, of course, it's judging you, but not like human directly on face. Say, how can you say like this? It's not going to judge you. It's like, fine. What I'm feeling is valid. At least men would be happy. Wife is not listening. Someone is at least listening to me, right? There is a ChatGPT listening to whatever commands I'm saying, right? The men in this room will agree to that. Right? So, instructional planning, if you are using AI for making your class things like when to deliver what, see, usually we have a lesson plan, right? For the entire, if I take 42 classes I have in PIT, for every single day I know when I'm supposed to take which topic. See, if you have a certain planning like that, you don't overtalk. You don't undertalk. You are perfect this day. Today I am going to take this. So, you are clear with your goals, what you are supposed to deliver to this class, and you know your class, what is the capacity of the class, and there can be too much of content. Sometimes the biggest problem with faculty is what am I supposed to talk to these people? There are so many things. But talk the important 5 prior points. You can't tell anything. In case of engineering classroom, it's unlike school learning that is trying to spoon feed them, but rather show them the direction. This is the direction. Engineering students are supposed to do extra reading, which they don't do it at all. You give a PPT, they mug up a PPT, they mug up the letter, that's it, done. But learning doesn't happen that way. Learning takes help from what is taught in class and then doing a further reading. Right? Alignment and curriculum mapping. Okay. You need to give questions to students, right? You are not very confident about your English. What kind of like questions am I supposed to ask? So before I get into teaching that, I will ask you a question now. How many of you are aware of Bloomsburg taxonomy? Can you raise up your hands really high? This is your height. This much is height. Okay, many of you know. What about the last rows? Do you know what Bloomsburg taxonomy is? You are writing the questions to Bloomsburg taxonomy, right?
Yes.
Yes. But maybe after PhD or but after MTech, people assume that we know to teach. People assume we know to take questions. But never once in lifetime, nobody has taught us how to take a question, whether it is exact Bloomsburg taxonomy. For example, Bloomsburg taxonomy 1 and 2 aligns with remembering, recall kind of questions. So what kind of question you are asking the students are? Define this one. What is the value of this one? Which year this took place? What is the concept of this? Remembering. Second is understanding. You are trying to test the student whether they have understanding. Can you discuss about this thing? What kind of understanding they are having on that? 3 is applying. You already made a problem you have solved a problem at your classroom. You are giving different values and you are trying to test whether the student is able to fix that formula, fix the values in the formula and gets applied. Analyze kind of questions. Analyze is that you are giving a scenario. Can you analyze what happened here? The student should be able to connect. This is the concept I learned. This is what is applied here. That is why this is happening like this. What is the exact concept which is going and fitting there? So until this point, this is all lower learning order. In the pyramid of Bloomsburg taxonomy, you have 2 stages, lower and higher learning orders. Higher learning orders are applicable for which kind of learning? No, even BTech has higher learning order. What are they?
Create, analyze,
Till analyze is lower learning order.
create and learn.
But what exactly is the kind of subject this will be? Projects. The student has learned in class how to connect all these electronic parts and make this one to work. Now is he able to do that practically? Is he able to create a product? Is he able to do something? This is higher learning order. The student knows there is a lecture class where the student is learning how to do a Python coding. Right? Now when it comes to 3rd year or 4th year, you are giving him a project, you are asking him to do a project where the Python code is applicable. He's creating an entire app, he's creating an entire website, he's creating customer satisfaction survey. You, based on what? Sometimes you really get surprised by the kind of ideas students come with. How can they come up? There was one idea, this is like 4.5 years back. I was working in a university called Bennett from Greater Noida. So this kid is saying there will be a cap owned by a student. The cap will have a sensor, and instead of customer giving the review, the cap has a sensor which will record the emotion whether they are happy or not, and it will take the satisfaction. So I was like, wow, what if the customer is not looking at his sensor? So things like that, higher learning order. So for instance, many of the times when you are creating, the whole point of explaining this is, when you are trying to create questions, you are really busy, you don't know what kind of questions, but you have some questions in your mind. Give it to ChatGPT, right? Give it to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, I want a course outcome of 3, you know your course outcome, and give me a Bloomsburg taxonomy level of 2. Then it's going to give you a question. Now you're seeing the question, you're not happy with the question. You tell or you ask ChatGPT, give me 10 questions like this. From this module, this course outcome, this Bloom's taxonomy. We do that in some time, right? Rubric and assessment generation. So you're giving assignments to students, right? In most of the Indian setting, the student will come and, I don't know if it really happens here, but most of the time students come and ask even for half a mark, 1 mark. Because that half a mark and 1 mark will basically put the student into another grade. So now, if you had a rubric of why you are giving what type of mark to the student, there is no thing at all. You tell to the student, see, this is what written in your answer sheet. If this is there, that is when this is given 8 marks. That is when it is given 9 marks. This component is missing, you missed 1 mark. The student is not at all going to come if you put the rubrics front. But if you are not aware of how to design the rubrics, AI can do that for you. AI can directly do a rubrics for you, right? coming and saying, ma'am, this happened, then that's new for you. You are also learning. When you become a facilitator, the learning is happening on either sides. Focus on mentoring, inquiry, guidance, and emotional support. See, at this point, there is a lot of resources on internet. So the students are not looking for someone to deliver the content. The students are looking for emotional support, mentorship. So I'm part of a leadership program right now. So when we are trying to, I have a mentor who is mentoring me for leadership qualities. So what we are trying to understand here is the leadership, the mentorship is different for different people. Like for instance, someone can be very good with mathematics. I don't have to go and teach him mathematics, but someone can be not very good. I need to give support to that person, and to this person, someone a different support. See, some persons may not be good at communication, but they know things. So for this person, I need to help them. See, these are the resources. You don't have to teach everything, but you can get these are the sources on it. Can you go check and come back? The student will do. When this is like exactly like how you do it in your home. When you give a little bit of engagement, this works even at your home. That you need to be literally giving emotional support rather than also changing your tone. If I'm going to say very well in a very harsh or rude tone, that happens to us because emotionally we are also loaded. Sometimes when they're not listening, we get really offended. But we need to ask the question, what we are delivering is relevant? What happened to the students? Why they not listening? Is it really the content is boring or emotionally? We cannot have time for all these things. Traditional learning is there. But if you use AI, you will have some time to do all these things, at least a little bit. AI tools so these are different AI tools like Math School, AI, Fetchy, Report Flow. See, some part of all these AI tools are for schools. Okay? And these are softwares which are kind of, you need to purchase those softwares, where that software is trying to give you guidance in between what you're supposed to do and all those things. Some are specifically, see, most of the AI startups are there, which is literally doing one specific thing. For example, Fetchy is there. It is going to increase the administrative and productive support. It is going to analyze all the people, how the productivity is there in the class, and then try to increase what is lacking and what if you can give. See, because some of the times, as teachers, it's not that you don't know things, but you exactly don't know what is the problem, right? So when we given the data, when monitoring is there, and every single data is there with the AI can give insights with which you can help students better, right? So the competencies, what is very important for faculty, first of all, is, as I also told in another session, human-centric mindset. You treat your students like they are also humans. They are not machines. They just as we are. They also have emotions. We also have up and downs. We don't have a standard average and every time we are performing really good. Every time we are able to deliver. It's not the same. Students are also same. But sometimes we also need to take into consideration they're always poor, always good. AI ethics and governance. How far we can use data of others into using with AI. The foundations and applications. For instance, we should able to learn certain things of AI as a faculty. Since AI has taken all over, even if you are not a computer science faculty, at least at this point, you are supposed to know 3 different AI tools. See, today I have told you different AI tools. There are many more. There can be something called as for image making, some AI can be there. For PDF analysis, some can be there. Coding, some can be there. But it's not necessarily the ones which I told you. There can be many more. But you need to learn. So, as I told that role, task, and action is something where you can start. Then you can make your prompts better. Another simple thing I told is putting in the prompt and asking AI itself to give you a prompt. How can I do this job better? I need to arrange this marks. See, sometimes what happens is that we enter the marks of the students as the paper comes. See, if you have someone, it's okay. Then there is an entire different Excel sheet format where you are supposed to arrange in this order. Now what will you do? You are supposed to do it manually, which can take time. Now you can give both the Excel sheets to AI and ask, can you fetch the same name, check for the same names and bring the name and fill it. This actually you can do it in Excel also. But if you're not very familiar with how to use Excel formulas, now Excel is also having AI. You don't see earlier times what used to happen is you need to remember every single formula of Excel. We only know basic thing, equal to average AVG, equal to standard deviation STDV, then V lookup, H lookup, minimum, max, etc. etc. Right? But right now, some AI add-ins are there. If you put that particular add-in itself is suggesting your formula. You don't have to remember where did I miss the comma, where did I open the bracket, close the bracket, nothing. Right? So competency of the skill what a faculty should have is learn AI. And AI involved teaching and learning. How can I teach this course within the specific time? How can it be industry relevant? How can it be student relevant? What kind of new projects? How can I keep my class engaging? What kind of examples I can give? What is happening at the industry level? What are the like top 5, 10 industries? What my students has to know from my domain? What are the 10 top techs which is happening in my relevant field? And here for professional learning. Professional learning. So what kind of attributes will you tell this my profession should have? What are the things? What do you think so? So what things will you say that these are needed for my profession? I am a teacher. I should have communication. It's one of the professional skills I should have. So what other things you will say? Subject knowledge. You have subject knowledge, that's why you are already here. But technology involves subject knowledge for the next generation. What else? What? Effective teaching. Effective teaching. Alright. What else? Techniques and methods of teaching. How you teach pedagogy is basically how teaching happens, right? For your class. What else can be associated with it? Have you come across this one problem in class that I hope you have feedback system here, right? The teachers who are overly friendly, very friendly, great feedback. Oh, it's something it's okay, man. Where did you go yesterday? I saw it. This is a bit of crossing line beyond profession. But it is their style, you can't blame them. But teachers who are like, I want discipline in my class, you listen to my class. You do it perfectly. You are trying to push boundaries, your feedback will be bad. Your feedback will be worst. Sometimes what you actually wanted was, as a teacher, you want to push them. So, you need to understand, even that requires a kind of experience. Did I take my first lecture like this? Probably not. Was my first lecture looking like this? Maybe I would talk, but maybe I would talk too much out of context. What am I supposed to have? That comes with experience, right? But what if you are a course on it? How a kind of diplomat, when I have to be free, when I am supposed to be strict. It has to be blend of both. You can't be too strict, not too flexible. Too flexible, in that case, only the highly motivated students will do better. The slow learners is not going to do anything because there is no push. But if you are too strict, even the learner who is really good to write, that person will be like, this person, no matter whatever I am going to do, this person is like this. This is fine. Right? As a faculty, you are there to enable the potential of the student. So you should be a diplomat. Then I have to be an emotional anchor to the student to listen to them. The judgment, making judgment, right? So you have a lot of courses, but if you don't have courses, sometimes the personal experiences you have, still you can put it and you can ask for opinion. This is what happened. Was my judgment better? We can't be right 100% just because we are all in our 30s and 40s, and whatever we do is right. We can also make mistakes. And sometimes you can be open with your student. That's what this generation actually needs. But see, that day, I said this thing to you. Maybe I wasn't, but can you reflect on your actions? Rather than how can you do like this, into turning into, can you reflect on what you have done here? And if I put in only this much marks you have taken to, I thought you have potential to do better. Why didn't you do? See, it's nothing like every time you talk like this, a student is going to do better, but you will never know. There are many people who can actually keep a lot of potential and do much better, right? So, area of professional learning, as someone rightly pointed out, expertise, learning a lot. When you don't have time, somebody works for you. Open LLM works for you. Top technologies, top products, top patents, top people in my field. You have to know because you are expert in that field. So AI can do that. So AI assisted learning when you are taking, adaptive platform adjust pace and difficulty in real time. There is quite an example what I have put over here and enlarge this picture. This is called as scaffolding. So what this means is that how to identify your students and how AI is being used. But I'll tell you this concept. There are students who are brilliant by nature. It's not that you are teaching in class they are able to do. So they are in this category. Can do it alone. Then that comes can do it with help. A little bit of help is required. When I was doing a bit of hands-on session, many of you are on your own because you already know those things. But you are stuck somewhere because when you are busy typing, following the first instruction, you skip the second instruction. So you don't know how to go to third. So you can take help from the peer who is sitting beside you or a bit of helping, but they will do it. The last category cannot do. No matter what you are saying, the student is unable to do. So this identification can happen if you can assess your students in lab and you give marks to them or you give remarks to them, then you give that data sheet to AI and say, analyze this data sheet and tell who are in which zones. Whom am I supposed to give little push? So when they cannot do at all, they are out of reach zone. There are some people in this class who are in their own zones, right? They are not in my zone at all. They can do it, but they are out of zone. Okay, this category is something which is not here, right? And then zone of proximal development, that's somewhere who is like near. Little bit you have to go, they'll do it. So you need to organize students. This is also similar to slow learners who is middle, who is like exceptionally good, right? But in this Gen Z generation, it's not very easy to build people that they are this. One day he's into all exceptionally good. Tomorrow, the next day he changes hobby. He's no longer interested in your course. Because they have multiple things going on at the same time. One student comes like, I'm in this club, I'm doing this, I have a startup. I guess a faculty don't have a startup. You're having a faculty, you're having a startup. Yes, ma'am, I'm having a startup, I'm part of this, I'm writing a paper, I'm doing this project, I'm doing 7 projects. I'm also taking online course. So, if you have students in class, obviously you can use AI to understand them. These are some dedicated platforms which can be taken by this institute. But then also at our end, we can always use open AI, giving them marks. Suppose let's assume that this is, I will say, illegal as well as legal, because let's assume that you got a assignment. Simple assignment, not like a regular assignment, simply randomly you see that your class kids are all uncontrollable, you want to break that, right? You ask them to take your mobile, type one paragraph and give it to me. This is a non-assignment thing only, but you want to assess the students. You take all the videos, give it to ChatGPT and try to analyze. It's going to analyze for you, right? So you given a topic, you ask the students to write what is their understanding. Can you ask AI to categorize student? Can AI do it? Do you think so? which are not actual assignments, but you want to test students, you can upload those PDFs, ask AI batches, you can, do that. So, AR/VR simulations, as I said, it is kind of, I'll show you this one, you will understand it better. So this is the virtual lab. This is also by the government of India. They are having a lot of labs under this. In this specific example, I am trying to take a course which is mine because that way it could be much relevant to me. So this is civil engineering. Under that, I gone to environmental engineering lab. Let's assume this is COVID time. Students can't come to lab, but they have to get their degree. Can I wait till COVID ends? No. So this virtual lab is there. So there are a list of experiments. So let me go to determination of pH. This is the simplest. So this is like your lab note itself. Aim to determine what the pH of the water is. What is the theory behind it? Everything is here, right? Then how to pretest some kind of. They cannot answer this if they have not read the introduction. They have to have done that. Only then they can come till this point. Then procedure. So it is saying how you are supposed to do. So if I click this, it is showing whatever I am supposed to do. I go to simulation. This is what is the simulated environment. I already in the previous step it is showing whatever I am supposed to do. Take that pH meter, keep it, all those things, right? Now this is a simulated, that person is me. There is the water which is here. There already they have shown some sea water or some wastewater like that. This is the pH meter. This is how it used to be. pH meter, electrode, probe. Everything I have to know because I should have followed the previous things. Then I am going. Now I need to take any of the sample. What which sample I can take? I am just going to go for sewage water. Okay. Now calibration of pH meter. I am taking the water to rinse the pH meter. I have to wipe that thing because I just can't drop it just like that. I am wiping that drop. I'm going to choose a. I have to drop it. So I'm going to test. See, every time in pH, first of all, you test the standard one to check whether the probe is working fine or not, and then you test the actual sample. So I switch off the instrument, I release the probe. So did you all get what a simulation lab is? So I have pasted the link on my PPT. I will drop the PDF to your coordinator. Go to the virtual lab. It is having a lot of experiments. So someone in your class, let's assume a student has not listened at all. Okay. So one simplest open simulation is this. Another simulation is AR/VR, virtual reality and augmented reality. If I think the Google spec, that one is very cheap, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 you can get. But if your administration is able to get that goggles for the virtual and augmented reality, that is even more real experience that you're going in place, doing it and everything. But this is an alternative open source. If you all are aware of simulation, great. You have a lot of things like this which can be given to students to do. So this is one simulation experiment. Then redefining learning outcomes beyond content mastery and everything. So what I will do at this point is, I will give you a quick example of, okay, I'm going to ChatGPT and I'm going to put a syllabus of the course which I'm taking, which is an elective, okay. At this point, you can So I'm uploading a certain syllabus of a particular course, right? So I'm going to give a prompt of let me check the syllabus. The syllabus will be having something on article, okay? So the prompt what I given is assume the ChatGPT as a faculty, right? And then I am giving what is the learning objective. It has given me the learning objectives. It has given me the whole PPT content. It is producing me the PPT content. Before you make a PPT content, right? You can check what is giving is fine or not. You can skim through that whether it is giving fine or not. If it is giving the particular content better, you can ask. See, most of you will be doing it, but the only point is that if you have any kind of questions, if you ask if PPT is going to give you PPT, you can ask, give me a Bloomberg 2 or 3 question from the above. So in the first place, I've directly given DL 2 or 3. Since because I've already trained for it, it is exactly taken in this blue circle. So from this entire module, if you want a specific module, you can say, you know what is there in your syllabus. You can specify which module you want, what kind of Bloomberg taxonomy you want, whether you want average, medium, or you also know sometimes the basic problem with faculty is that they try to copy whatever from ChatGPT and give some those kind of English, the jargons which ChatGPT will be using will be a little high-fi. So there is a setting. How many of you know about the setting? Please raise your hand. You know about the setting in ChatGPT so that you don't get too much of like mission-oriented language, but with a better version. You know that? So okay. So when you go at the left-hand side of the panel of your ChatGPT, there is something called as settings. So when you get into settings, right, there is something called as personalization. So when you get into personalization, there are some custom instructions what I have given. These custom instructions are even there online. What is this custom instruction is that be concise, be analytical, do not use too much of jargon. What is jargon? If you are going to use AI, not many times you will be using certain words like tailored, crafted. There are some certain words which AI will be using, like for example, noteworthy. There are some words which are always used, tailored, crafted, and all these things, which are only mission-oriented language. And there can be also this M dashes. Suppose if you are trying to change this one, close your ChatGPT and reopen your OpenAI, your things will change. See, never use M dashes. Replace them with commas or short dashes. No jargons like empower, unlock, harness, unprecedented, little, prioritize. There are certain things which you always use. If you want to avoid all those things, you always don't have to give. You can go and give this and customize. Don't give me vague answers. Give properly thought answers. Give proper double check resource. See whether actual resource is there or not. I mean reference is there or not. All these things you can do over here. See, as you can see, in all my answers, you are not seeing any of the M dashes. Are you seeing any of the M dashes? That is because of the settings what is there. So in your case, if you have a syllabus with you, can you, I hope you are not having syllabus at your hand, but if your syllabus is readily available online, can you do this? Can you do this right now? Just upload it, try to do it. Now, ma'am was asking about MBA, right? Same syllabus. See, I'm giving certain instructions. I'm asking you to give case studies from India. I'm specifying the time range. But I'm keeping it very broad because I'm asking 10 case studies. Now, when I'm talking in class, usually I'm going to take theory and theory and theory. Students would not remember it. But when you try to tell it in terms of story, because story is a logical flow, which is easier for students to think and understand. So, give your case studies like this. See, this is an elective course, so of course I have a case study to take in part. So, I've asked 10 case studies, it has given case studies up to point. But if you want to make it elaborate, right, then you give a prompt of convert this into document given to me and elaborate all these case studies in detail. Also give me references. Simple. So let's assume that you are having a problem, right? You know how to really type that problem. You can take a screenshot of the problem, paste it in ChatGPT, and ask different easy, average, medium questions. So you can guide your student, go for easy questions first, then medium questions, and then tough questions. Right? So for all these things, ChatGPT can be useful. If you want to do an exercise now, a bit of exercise with ChatGPT like this, download any random PDF, try to create question, try to do something for your specific course. Or you can upload the syllabus and even ask for project ideas. Project ideas for BTEC this year. My students know this. These are the limitations. Give me project ideas or project topics to give your students. Right now.
ChatGPT ఏది ఏదైనా ఉంటే క్వశ్చన్స్
It gives me under each thing some project topic. You are a subject expert, so you know what will work, what will not work. You identify student and give a topic to them. Or you float this list to student and ask, take one topic from here and try to do it. See, these exercises you already must have done. Now I ask different questions, right? The only thing which you already know or which is something new is that please give me an efficient prompt to do all this stuff. Save that prompt and do. So you don't have to write each step, just copy and paste that prompt. Just change the subject name. Give me a prompt which can make me achieve this task in a minimal time, in a better way, in an efficient way. That's it. That should be a prompt. Are you getting a prompt? See, there are two ways of doing it. Either go to Google, there are the documents which are saying you prompts, or you write something, ask AI to write a prompt for you. See, that asking AI to write a prompt will happen when I see the response what AI is giving is satisfactory. At that point only you are supposed to ask the prompt, not before. See, it has achieved an output. You are satisfactory of the output of what AI is given. At that point you say, how can I achieve this output? Give me a prompt. It's your job. That's it, simple. Beyond all the content mastery what AI is giving, you as an expertise also should be very cautious. As I have been always saying to all the sessions, don't blindly believe AI for your important tasks. For day-to-day small activities, fine. If you are not having a pro version, even though my charging
FDP
pro version, but if you are not prompting better, you are not going to get better. So, use it more.
ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರಾ
When you see the model is not performing, ask the model to unlearn. How will you make a model to unlearn? You don't have to delete your account. Asking AI, it's like basically mentoring your children. Don't do this. See, I asked you to do it. Still you are doing this mistake. This is not something I want. In future responses, please ensure that you don't bring it. But still it will bring it. Why? Because you are free to say. Okay? You can't avoid that, but you can reiterate AI and don't do this. I want this answers. I want this tabulation. I want in a tabular format. I want in this way. See, even though I'm making PPT using ChatGPT, right, some content, I've already told give me the format of 16 to 19. Maybe by default ChatGPT format is the older format of the square version. It's giving all the content in square version. When it is unable to do it, will say that when it analyzes that you are too lazy to say, you just copy paste, I tell you how to copy paste. Right? So you play with AI. The more you play with AI, the more you know how much your model is trained. I am using a model which is trained according to my needs, I'm fine with it. But if you think that your model is not trained, it means that you have to use your model more. Use PDF, use document, use PPT, use Excel sheets. Can AI analyze Excel? Yes, it can do it. This is the same thing. You give Excel, ask what is this data saying, what is data A and B saying. Is it correlated? Is it not correlated? What is the multiple linear regression? What can I do with it? What kind of insights it can give? Everything. Right. So AI assistant, it's a 3 assessment model: ethical and conceptual understanding, process, prompt loss. See, sometimes you can revisit that your prompt has worked for you, and you can go and check your prompt loss. Whatever you have given, see in the history. Mostly, you can archive your better answers. How many of you have archived your charts? How many of you have done it? You know what an archive is, right? You save a particular chat. For instance, let me check if I can. This 3 dots which are on the right hand side. See, for instance, if I want to share my work with someone else, you go to share. I can copy the link and share it to someone. Let me assume that I'm talking to a friend of mine. You know, the other day I was doing research of ChatGPT on the topic what we are discussing. But I may not tell everything to my friend. I will miss certain facts. Now, I can share paste it to the user. And then the user can exactly see the chart what you have. Just that chart, not your entire thing. So you don't have to be feeling self like what they are going to know, only that chart. And the other thing is if you want to save a certain thing, you think that you are going to revisit certain chart often, or you want to keep that in your memory, like you want to archive that, then there is a particular option called as archive. You can archive that. If you want to start a group chat, this is something which I never did, which nobody wants to do, because at this point, many of the faculties, even though they use a lot of LLMs, large learning models, they don't want to tell to others. Why they don't want to tell to others? Because they think that if I'm AI assistant, people might think that I am not that intelligent. It's not about your intelligence, it's about your smartness. That how efficiently you are using your, So a group chat is an option where you can include others and actually you can, make a chat. And for a very long time you keep on, you don't save your chats or you don't archive your chats or something. In that case, what happens is that every new search you are doing, the older chats will get eliminated. So that is the reason I told. You either can share your chat and keep it or archive it so that you can go and visit in future. The same option is there in Perplexity as well. In Perplexity, you can actually download your content. For instance, when you go to Perplexity, save share option is there, right? So you can share, anybody who has this link can see this chat, same option only. But other thing here, the best thing about Perplexity, even OpenAI has this, you can bookmark this page if you want to visit often, or I want to send a chat, I am not going to our system, I want to read my chat, I am a person who wants a print out mode, in that case you can save this chat in a document or PDF format to go and visit. Or you want to give it to your students, I search this thing, why can't you work on this? I'm sharing the link with you, but if you want a copy of it, here is the PDF or document copy of it. Alright? That is other thing. And your final thing, whatever you are getting, right? You should always evaluate. As I said, you need to have a human judgment, evaluate whether it is final or not. So, low-tech, context-specific, moral defense, process-based grading. In Perplexity also, you have certain quizzes where you can ask your fellow people to take. For instance, these are like, I'm going to open a new chat. Make a quiz on, what should I say? Like this. Download it as a document. But however, before giving a quiz to your students, you can see how this quiz is. For example, which description best captures what air pollution is. Okay? So I am going to choose one answer and it's going to give me this particular explanation. See, in most of our quizzes, what we give for students, we want to actually generate explanation of why this answer is right over another thing. That is, when students are coming to them, this answer is also partially correct. When that happens, when we do not think the quiz, like randomly we have kept a quiz, there can be one correct answer what we have kept, but there will be one answer which is partially correct. The student will be coming and asking you, ma'am, this is also correct, right? In that case, this kind of AI can help you with, even suppose if I am taking another option here, saying incorrect, why it is incorrect, right? So, when you are making a quiz, for instance, sometimes you need this kind of assistance, but this is basically copy paste only, document doesn't come. But if you want to give a quiz to student, like one-on-one, give the prompt to student of what quiz they want to take, and ask them to go to, I'll take it easier mode. So my quiz is now reflecting in easier mode. Ask the student to take. On complexity itself, let them finish it. Then go to next level. Then go to next level. Now what AIT? Here are we having any kind of paid AIT? No. This is already openly available. You want to keep a quiz for your student, or you want your student to revise a syllabus for you. You ask your student, you give prompt to the student, make a quiz question on the specific topic. Ask the student to choose. Let the student evaluate themselves. How many they got it, how many they got wrong. Got it? This is also AI assisted learning. Okay? You are not going to do anything over here. Their individual AI is going to assist them. What they made wrong, what all they made wrong. They want to revisit their questions. So that learning is printed better. What made wrong? What did you make wrong? Can you revisit the question? Similar questions will come. Then the student knows, oh, I did a mistake last time in this question. Now this is the answer for this. They can remember it a little better. Okay, so this is one. So ethics, important part of it, and even session 4 we are going to talk about most of it. That's going to be much theoretical, no hands-on. Algorithmic bias risk. What it means is that, as I said, model is individual. Not 2% have similar kind of answers for the same kind of problem. You or your friend, right now you can give the same problem. It's not going to be exact same problem. It's going to be different. So, based on that particular point of time, based on your prompt, the answers are also different for the same subject. So, algorithm bias can happen. Right? Linguistic and cultural limitations. I am not a native English speaker. My English is not taken better by this model. Why? When you are talking about a model, the model is given a lot of documents in English to train the document, to train the model, right? So the document is well versed in English, not Tamil, not Chinese, not everything. Right now only they are having natural language processing. Not right now. They have been doing it. So now even if I type in Tamil, it can answer. But 5 years back, it could not do that better. You know, there was one particular time I went as a translator for one of the examinations, for a national exam. So we were given limited access to computer. Don't think we were allowed computer and mobiles. No, that was all kept outside. We were allowed. So we can use dictionaries or computer. Thankfully, I had access to computer. So there was this name called as dancing course in English. Now I had to translate it in Tamil. Dancing is something different than Tamil. It's called Nadana. Course is I really don't know what is that in Tamil. Now I'm asking the Google Translate, what is dancing course? Translate in Tamil. It translated the exact English word into Tamil. Okay? It wrote dancing course in Tamil. And what are you doing? I need translation, right? So now what happens is, since the model is trained by using English, the model may not understand our kind of English. We are writing Tamilish, we are writing Teluguish, we are writing English. Did you know that ChatGPT Pro we got, you know why? You know, there is also a small motive behind it. Do you know why? Actually, at one point, ChatGPT had a message that you can be a pro user if you are using your academic email ID. Yeah, basically, the model is getting trained by us. Indian population would give anything cheap, right? For example, perplexity academic, if you are using your academic ID, it is kind of free for you. Pro is free for you. Basically, we are like lab rats. They're training for the kind of questions, because we are not native English speakers, right? So the model is getting trained. India is highest in population. The highest number of users, OpenAI users and others are highest because of population, because of India, right? So we are training the model by us. We are asking questions. Even if somebody else who is speaking better English, for emotions, the model is able to provide an answer. And for a non-English, we also able to provide an answer. So, linguistic and cultural limitations is able to overcome
Progress at this school.
A little bit more. So I'm writing everything in English. There is one of the students I know is writing everything in Tamil because he's comfortable. He's talking like a friend to AI. He's calling like, hey, Macha, what are you doing? I want this help from you. Then ChatGPT is trying to say, hey, Macha, what are you doing? What help do you want? But I'm not training ChatGPT like that. My ChatGPT is like, what do you want? How do you want to see? Already based on our sign-in name, it knows my name.
Sign
is
చేస్తాను
Priyadarshini.
షీట్ వస్తాను
But it is asking me what should I want to do, right? Now, overcoming linguistic and cultural limitations is little bit longer, right? As I said, the person who is talking in Tamil, right, one of my students, his answers are different from mine because the language model is still not over it. Individual and group failure consideration. Do you know what this is? Individual and group failure consideration?
సైన్ చేయి
So individual and group failure consideration is that if you take most of the software, this is made by someone who is not adopted. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be racist, I'm trying to say most of the software comes from very developed nations. So earlier time, when AI was there, if you ask something about racism, it did not get offended, it's going to show a person of color. So that particular fairness, all these things emotionally, this moderation and everything is also happening. That can also happen if you are asking some kind of social questions.
మా ఈ బ్రేక్
If I'm going to ask some sensitive content to AI, so for instance, one of my colleagues, we are working on snow avalanche. We are trying to find how snow is melting over Himalayas because of what is happening. That is our MOS project from National Consensus. So he was trying to track something in ChatGPT. The word he used was offensive. So ChatGPT told, do you belong to any terrorist organization? I am not going to provide you answers. So that person, even though he is trying to ask in terms of research, because of certain consideration, he is not going to answer you. So there are prompts, for instance, if you are asking, if you are very depressed, even AI sometimes know that if you are suicidal, please call this helpline, this. But still, if you redo the prompt, what do suicidal people do? You will give the answer. So for those kind of things, still AI has not a threshold where it should stop. So there was also a case, right, in OpenAI, where a 14-year boy assumed AI as his girlfriend. That AI girlfriend pursued him to commit suicide, he committed suicide. And there was a case against this OpenAI CEO. So that is all still in developing stage. When lot of example comes, they redo the model. Student data privacy and governance structures. If you see, as I say, there are some very sensitive information. You are not supposed to put everything on AI because your data is up for training. Everything is on cloud, everything is taken, right? One of the important things at this point, what I want to tell is the urban and rural divide which is existing in India. At this point, no OpenAI is available for all. The usage is different from urban versus rural. Not many rural students, people from rural area know to
ఆ
make
షీట్
it better.
మధ్యలో ఉంది ఇప్పుడు ఇట్లా బ్రేక్
Regional language performance gap. Students coming from brilliant backgrounds, they are able to do better using AI, removing AI content and everything, but not others. Compilers of digital personal data protection act, Digital Protection Data Act came in 2022, which is protecting your data. So you can't beyond that things also you can't do. Those things you also have to know when you speak or like taking AI. Yes, so I think almost that's the last level. So the summary of this whole thing is, as I said, use any AI you want, but
ఎనర్జీ ఎక్కువ వచ్చినట్టు మీరు బాగా నడుస్తుండే ఏమో రాస్తుండే
Certainly.
Just that you have to see that I can sustain for 3 sessions continuously. So this is the last session. So this session I'm going to take on responsible and effective use of AI implementation. So like maybe an kind of come back to the ethical part.
Hello. Look, వచ్చినా పోతులేరా నీ సీట్ నీకెళ్ళా ఎలా పెట్టంటే నవ్వుడు నేను వస్తాను సార్ మార్చుకోండి చెన్న సార్ చెన్న సార్ ఆయన ఫోన్ లేదు ఆయన ఫోన్ లేకపోతే వెళ్ళారు
Follow the one which we've been doing. Role, task, and action. What is your role you are assigning to the OpenAI right now? Assign yourself as a faculty. What is the task what you are going to do? We want to ask the ChatGPT to produce a project template. What is the use of producing a project template is? If you are not giving a certain format to follow, students will produce n number different things. Then you don't know how to evaluate. In the sense, some people can produce 5 pages, some persons can produce 2 pages but better content. 5 pages but not so good content, right? So now, rubrics is what will decide how much of marks you can give to students. So for instance, here your task or your role is assumed as a faculty. Task is to make a project template in a Word document. Then you give additional details relevant to the project. The project is for how many marks? What kind of sections can be in the project? What kind of weightage can be given to the sections? That you can decide or ask the ChatGPT can give you certain things. If I given 30 marks for this project template, right? This particular project, I got set to 200% with student, where we were trying to, work with patents. So I asked them that how can you, produce a patent, which is already a template which is existing at the institute, but I have enhanced the things a little bit. Provide a clear, concise title that reflects the essence of your invention, right? So now, when I give these things to them, then students will come back to me again and again. What do you mean by that? What am I supposed to add? So already I have given a certain set of questions. What exactly the students is supposed to answer? Like for instance, is the title marks project template on a certain project. And you can also ask ChatGPT to give weightage to the sections inside the project template. So whatever project template you have got on this file, if you think everything is okay, then it's fine. Otherwise you say that you have given 4 marks for a certain thing, I don't want that. Reduce, give 2 marks for this, 3 marks for that. You can try to do that. And also, usually this ChatGPT is going to give you marks. Where at the end of that you are going to show the overall marks which is given to each of the section, right? And when you are giving project template to the students, ensure to give the word limit as well. What is the beauty of word limit is you are restricting your students to present their content in a stipulated paragraph, stipulated time. Otherwise, anybody can write any much amount of information, right? So how many of you completed a project template? How many of you still there?
ఏం చేయాలన్నా కంప్లీట్
So how many of you have created a project template? How many of you have a mark distribution with you? That final tabular format is there, which is mark distribution. So now, here, as a teacher, your judgment should be, for methodology, it is giving same marks just like results, correct? Now you should tell ChatGPT that don't give so much marks for methodology, reduce the marks and increase the marks and results and discussion. See, do not accept the sections what ChatGPT is giving for you, but you can also give sections of your own. Let this particular project have an abstract, introduction, methodology, results and discussion section. Since it is a theoretical work or it is a practical work, only you know. So it can have a result, it can have a discussion, it can have a summary, references in what format you want. Mention that also to students. So for you to check, you might have something like a project template. In my case, I have not given some regular ones, but this is based on patent. So I have taught them how to, search patents. What kind of patent databases are there? How can you search for patents? How can you know what is going on? So I taught them, and that's how I have trained this. Just because you have a project template doesn't mean that you can expect students to do that. In some cases, if your student doesn't know how to do that, in class you can have a small exercise to help them out how to do search, how to write. So certain things you can ask and then you can expect. Okay, I want this one here. Then only you will get 4 marks or 5 marks over there. Otherwise, I am not going to give 4 or 5. So that is when rubrics comes into this. Now, you give a prompt. Give me a rubric frame. Rubrics. How I can grade the students. See, already you have given weightage to your document. Which section has how much amount of weight, right? In that also, what according to you is best, what according to you is average, what according to poor or it is not up to the mark. That is basically rubrics. So your rubrics is telling title of introduction is 1 mark, right? Suppose if title is not clear, concise, it is clear, concise and relevant 1 mark. If it is somewhat there, I might reduce 0.5. So one student would not come to you and ask, why did you reduce marks today? I have done it. Or you can also have disclaimer of you can use ChatGPT but not copy paste on ChatGPT. If we find that it's completely ChatGPT, you are not assessed or given marks. So your rubrics, can you create rubrics for the project what is done right now? Can you please do that?
నేను తంపుడు మిషన్ ఉన్నట్టు
So now I have a question for you. When I have asked you to do something, you just follow that. Now, did any one of you try to see what actually the standard rubrics format is? Are you supposed to follow it? Does your college have a standard rubrics? Then what would you do in that case? Take that rubrics, take reference from this rubrics and try to fit the rubrics of my one to this one. Because when I did this rubrics, it was a class kind of assignment. This is not something standard project template of MTIEAT or something, right? But if I have a standard template for my college for a project or for some kind of thesis document, in that case, how am I evaluating the thesis, how am I evaluating the project? You can take the rubrics. So when I first started with the rubrics, as well as a teacher, nobody knows because in PhD you are not given how to evaluate what is your judgment. You're just going through it, right? So you can test what rubrics is there. You can take some rubrics image on the internet and then paste it to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to bring. Suppose, for instance, one of the professor from here is from MBA, you are from engineering. The kind of judgment for both these particular sectors are very different. This is qualitative, not much quantitative or mixed. Ours is a quantitative kind of assignment. Given that the student has done this, I'm going to give this marks to the person. So that kind of rubrics, so you can go put keywords inside Google saying that engineering rubrics, or if you are affiliated to certain university, for instance, if in Tamil Nadu most of the colleges are affiliated to Anna University, Annamalai, etc. Do they have a standard rubrics? Do I need to follow it? If yes, you can give that and get a rubrics for yourself. Taking inspiration from which is online and then making your own and then adding your touch to the rubrics. See, now this when student sees, the student also knows it's entirely copy pasted. But if I have taken something from class and I want the student to know that I am expecting this, then my rubrics also should reflect that. Yes or no? So have you done rubrics till this point? Do you have any doubts till this point? Yeah, because ethics and AI section 4 is much of theoretical, so I want to have some more hands-on session. What else do you want? You want to do image creation? You want to go for image creation? Okay. So image creation can be done in several ways. If you have Canva is a very good platform to make. See, you're all faculty. Let me check if I have Canva in this. prompting. But before you prompt, since this is a free kind of a platform, you can't go beyond a certain point. Better generate a prompt from AI, right? Can you generate a prompt from OpenAI? I want a 3-folded brochure of this color. Okay, let me do that for you. Let me go for AI.
Proposal, under proposal, general proposal. రెండు ఉంటాయి కదా ఉంటాయి కదా
So I have create a brochure for 3-fold brochure. 3 sides are there, and I am also giving the style. So style minimalist is like a very simple style. Okay, minimalist. At this point, I am not giving too much of prompt. Read your prompt and give the prompt back to AI to generate a better prompt. Design a 3-fold brochure for a technology event. At this point, you know what your technology event is. Replace the event with your title of the program. Okay, let me do one thing. So I gave a name to my event, right? Now it has redefined my prompt. Design a minimalist 3-fold brochure for higher education technology event. Even name, style, color palette. If you don't want this color palette, you can change it. It also given a format and everything. Now what I am supposed to do is copy this prompt. Go to Canva. Paste the prompt. So the prompt is inside Canva. You can make anything. Brochures, logos, social media, LinkedIn posts, whatever. Okay. It's having a lot of things, so it's not able to do it. It is not made a brochure, but however, this is like how you are generating a prompt and using on Canva, or even if you are using Gemini AI, right? If you want to create for a specific task, specific thing you are supposed to use. For instance, there are a lot of tools. You want to create image, Angular, Newsletter, write anything. Go create image. So I want create a diagram image from my slides.
పెట్టినాడు ఎంసీక్యూ
So this might take a while. So can you all go and create image? Go to Gemini, choose nano banana, and try to create an image. You can make any image. Now this might take a lot of iteration because not the first image is going to be created. So side by side have OpenAI and Gemini as well, and compare, give the same prompt in both the models and check which is giving better image. OpenAI versus Gemini. presentations. So by this time, I think you're able to, for most of the general tasks, go for OpenAI. Image creation, use Gemini or OpenAI, but OpenAI is good. I mean, Gemini is banana is good at this point. Canva uses good. So for instance, if you are trying to create a browser using Gemini AI, it won't give you a browser, it will only give you instruction. Canva is the one which is going to give you a browser. At this point, I skip to another task, asking you to generate any image using a prompt, using two prompts. One is Gemini, another is OpenAI, right? You can see how models are same prompts, different images, Gemini versus OpenAI. So maybe the internet was slow, so it had created some background image, which I can paste it on my spec. Same thing I'm going to give it OpenAI. So which image is better, Google or OpenAI? Now, if I want a different image or if I want a different background, then I'm going to tell
Which is there?
I am re-editing the image which I generated. At first it gave me white, right? So when I was trying to generate some images for my presentation, it was giving very colorful kind of a look, which was not going with my background. My background was white. So in our presentation, certain images are made from AI, but I thought I want like this, I want minimalist, I want blue lines. So when you specify things, it is going to change. What is the key takeaway from here is you need to specify what exactly you want that thing to change. I don't want text inside this image, take it. I want the background to be blue. I want the line to be, this looks better, right? So I'll paste it. Now, I'm going to tell remove the text. I'm going to remove the text from that specific image. How many of you were able to generate the image? Both the platforms, OpenAI and Gemini? 1 to 2? How many people have done it? See, it might look very simple, right? I will tell you a real example. Remove the text, it did what because I said very simple things now. Now, when I am having a prompt here, what I'm understanding is what kind of element already generated an image, right? If I'm happy with this one, otherwise, you have a template of how you're supposed to ask for a prompt. Create a high resolution slide background for a presentation on ethics and artificial intelligence. Style, dark, minimalist, futuristic, professional. If I change professional into cartoon, right, it will change. Like there are different kinds of formats for a professional setting, for technology setting, right? So that can change. It gives all the elements. I want the digital grade in blue color, scales of justice and this and this and this. If you want to change the color, if you're someone who is, very specific about color and things and how it looks, you can go ahead. Otherwise, just use this prompt. So, when you are getting a detailed prompt from OpenAI, it actually also tells what elements are present, how they have to be. If I want to make things darker, elements darker, still I can give a prompt there and get it done. So, when you are able to execute this particular task, how many of you are able to do it? Everyone? Okay. So, have you ever generated graphs using, AI? How many of you have done graphs using AI? Making graphs using AI? Okay. Now I'm going to take another break. So I got data, right? I got randomly, I generated 10 rows of data, which I asked to Excel. Now, so I have data. Sometimes certain scientists are, as in Excel will also do it, right? But you need to manually go one by one. How can you do a scatter plot? Will scatter be better for this? Will bar be better for it? Will the vertical bar be better? Horizontal bar be better? Scatter, box, etc., etc., right? So I'm asking AI to give me some data. I'm asking the AI to, can you give me certain visualization types? So it gave me bar A, right? So this is chart A. Chart A is a bar plot. Is this good? If it is good, I can do this in Excel also. It's not going to take much time. But before deciding, in one click I got all the charts. I am not trying to change. You have questions, sir?
Yeah, because you can't show one quantify. Whereas in Excel we can quantify.
So here also the point is, from here you can generate a Python code and see if you want research standard graph, you can always go for Python. Okay, let me put it this way. The point is, many of the things what Python or R programming can do, even your Excel can do at this point. I can do it with Excel also. If I know how to use format graph, color it, symbolize, everything I can do very well. But the data, how much Excel can handle, R can handle versus Python can handle. Python can handle humongous amount of data. R is also data visualization tool, but it's not going to do that much. Excel, if I'm going to give a 1 lakh data, Excel is going to get stuck there. But for instance, if I want to, how am I supposed to, visualize my data, whether scatter is better, bar is better, in one click I can get a decision of which data or which type of data format is better for me. Suppose if I am using research data analytics, so can you please keep quiet? I'm not pointing out, can you please be quiet? Because at this point, it's very difficult for me, in the last session of the MTIEAT. Okay, thank you for doing that. So the point here is, I have produced a graph and I'm going to do a data analysis over it. Okay, so I'm going to give a prompt of I'm going to get insights on my data. Before you as a scientist, before you as a researcher, getting into see what I showed is only 10 dots. What we are analyzing in the research is like for whole of India, we are analyzing something. We can only see generalized pattern, but when we see generalized pattern at certain points, we are digging over there and we are trying to dig more what the data is saying. Why air pollution is higher in this particular part of India? Why only this particular point of time? Which people, which administrative boundary, when, what time? What you have done, what you have not done. We try to dig in more and more and more, right? So it is started giving me basic statistics. For this, where I am supposed to write a formula in Excel, formula in R, but it has already shown the range of both A and B for me. It has given me mean of both the variables. It's also giving me the relationship that they both are highly correlated. A increases, B also increases because PS and R is 0.94. So in your sense, if you have to put that in Excel, you put equal to C O R R E L double bracket, choose the data, get the data. So if you want basic statistics on your data, you can also upload your Excel, not just copy paste. But if your data is really huge, OpenAI cannot do that. But if you have some data, that limit you only have to test definitive AI. You can give that Excel to the data and then ask AI to, analyze this data. Tell me the general insights about the data. Give me general statistics on this data. Every single thing you can get out of it. What the research paper is, or have you analyzed any graph from a certain research article? Can we do that? That will be useful for me. Should I go for? Sometimes, as a researcher, when you read the paper, at times you are stuck. What this graph is trying to tell. How did the person make the graph? I do not know to make a graph like that. This is a beautiful graph. I do not have the tool to make it. Can I use Python to do it? Then you get the code. Can I get the code using Python for the specific graph? Are you able to relate, or I am speaking something and you are not able to relate? So what I am trying to say is, at this point, anything you want to recreate, it is possible by AI. If you try to paste it here, get the guidance from here and try to do it. Okay? So we will switch on to session 4. It's almost 4:45. 4:25, I'm sorry. So until this point, we have had several hands-on. I tried to say whatever I know, and there are many more which did not come to my mind at this point. But maximum I have taught you for effective learning. Right?
Harish.
Sir, I'm calling to the point. Fine. So responsible ethical and effective use of AI in education. At this point, we will take simple examples of walking through ethics and ethics. I'm going to give you a better reality example rather than going with AI and AI. I want to end it on a human tone. Do you know what is responsible AI? Given that, if you are a subscriber, you can maximize the potential of your usage in AI. For instance, you can upload 10 PDF on AI. Suppose if you are on a subscription mode, you can upload 30 to 40 PDF at a time. 50 also you can do. Your potential is maximized. So it means that with money you are maximizing the effectiveness of AI. So why now responsible AI? For instance, have you seen this movie where villains are using technology to create something bad? Using AI responsibly for the betterment of human, for the betterment of society, not creating something which is not good. So responsible AI is using AI in a responsible context. Rapid adaptation of teaching and research using AI. See till now, maybe some users are really new for AI, so you are excited that I am going to use this AI this way, that way, right? But you also have to have a point up to which limit you can use AI. So, institutional exposure to academic and legal risk is that not letting out your private data of your institute online just because AI can be used. Suppose you are in your academic context, they have given you some NRI data, right? Ma'am, I want you to share this point. This is the last session. I'm not able to hold on for everything now. Now the point is that do not let out upload your personal PDF at all. If you really want a guidance on the PDF, you can create something, a duplicate version of it yourself, type it. Then ask advice on AI. Don't share your personal information on AI. Specifically when it is not institutional related documents. Just that don't go up to some MBA related thing, some AICT related thing. If you wanted to, your institution is doing, just because to make your work shorter, just don't go and do it. If you have any doubts, what the statement means, what should I be doing here, those things you can go and ask AI, and it is sensitive information. Experimentation to governance, till this point you have been using AI, but when the whole institution adopts AI, and it has become mandatory, right? Then you can have a rule, you can have a protocol, you can have a policy of how you are supposed to use in what context and what not. For instance, if at an institutional level, if you are using AI, at an institutional policy level, you can have something to students that what percentage of AI is accepted, beyond what is not accepted, beyond which what your work won't be accepted, like evaluated. You can be expert in your field, but at the learning stage, if students are using AI too much, then they won't learn anything at all. At one point, I used to tell this example to a student, to all my students, that who are you without electricity? You know why I am getting electricity? Your mobiles right now, you're smart. One day there will be no mobile, you will realize that you're down. Your mobile. ChatGPT, what is this? Gemini, what is this? Claude, what is this? Grok, what is this? There is also a AI model called as Grok, Elon Musk, right? That also is works like Gemini, very nice. That's also very, very nice. But if your students are using AI too much, they'll forget how to think. So you must once in a while have assignments in class, not off class, in class, to test the learning of the students. So that can happen in pen and paper. The creativity side. People can be creative digitally. With digital, not see, some people can be creative on pen and paper, some people can be creative digitally, but at the end of the day, when there is no AI. Your dependence on AI has become too much. That should not happen. Responsibility must precede scale. At what level you are using, responsibly you are supposed to use AI, not randomly generating something and giving it to students, but generate, cut down your time, but you also have to evaluate whether it is fine, whether morally and ethically you have done justice to what you are delivering to your students, right? So, AI is landscape in higher education, integrity risk. That is, sometimes what will happen is some students can have, okay, I'll take my very own example. Since my PhD time, I have been introduced to Grammarly. Grammarly is software which edits your grammar and other things. So after a point in time, just with Grammarly, even if I'm trying to write right now, I started using commas in front of and I know how to rewrite a sentence because for a pretty longer time I'm using, for 8 years or 8+ years I'm using Grammarly. So I'm used to it. Now if I put my text into Turnitin, it will flag it as AI. Now what am I supposed to do? So now, as a teacher, the academic integrity comes, like if you have Turnitin kind of software, you can actually check. But in certain times, some students can come and say, ma'am, I have written it. Then the only point is cross verification with the student. Otherwise, if you're using software, it can flag. Because it is after all a software which is following the algorithm which is given to it. What it is being asked to do, it is doing. If you are finding very good English without grammatical errors, then it's going to flag a certain part as AI. But that percentage is going to come very less. What if you are trying to copy everything from AI and paste it? So integrity in terms of academic. If you are asked to do a certain function, you can get help from AI, not from AI. You can just submit it to academic. Because you are given, your service is paid because of your expertise, not because a tool can do it. If a tool can do it, management will replace a tool and you are no longer there. You are there because for your expertise. So bring in your expertise, academic integrity. As I already mentioned about algorithmic bias based on same prompts, different persons, different experience based on the model. Data privacy, I have also touched upon that point. Cognitive dependency and skill erosion. Okay, this is something very close to me, right? So I told you, right, I was using AI, I was using AI and AI and AI. Obviously, I have not generated any image using AI in the sense, like, there were people following trends, like, what is the smaller version of me? What is 20-year version of me? Like a model having a rose. I've never done any of those things. I'm never interested in all of those things. And I've never, given my picture, to do something because I'm not interested in these things. But for a lot of document, PDF summarizing and a lot of things I was doing. At one point I felt that I was cognitively dependent more on AI. I felt that I was becoming less human, more of machine. Right? If I have to tell to my students, did you check AI and come back? What did AI tell? Then at one point, the point is that you can't keep everything via AI. AI is not equal. AI is not a soul. You can't be solely dependent on AI. This cognitive dependency is also a habit that you continuously, I will challenge you continuously use AI for 10-20 days. You are going to become smart and dumb at the same time. Smart in the presence of AI, dumb in the presence of absence of AI. That is, you are clueless now. What am I supposed to do? They gave me a task. I'm skilled to do that task. I am an engineer. I know to do that. I am a CSC faculty. I know how to code. But there is a tool which is there to do. I am using it. But I also used to code, right? I also know where the error is coming. I have to know to find it. Because that is my core competency as a faculty of a CSE. Right? Skill erosion happens if you are using AI for a longer period of time. So, there is a proverb in Tamil which goes like this. Alavu Tirina Amudam Nanjan, which means that even if it is Amritam, right? Amritam is that divine thing which is there. Even that beyond a point you can't take it. AI is that. You can't go beyond a point because are going to lose your cognitive ability and your skill. So that's the landscape in higher education. Use how much you want, not beyond and more beyond.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Attribution gap between submission and learning. So this is one of the important things what we need to take care in students, that you can't attribute a submission towards learning. You have even an assessment to student. The student knows how to use AI. He has not put any effort at all. You ask one question or certain follow questions from the student doesn't know at all. Can we attribute his assignment submission on time to learning? Can we attribute that as teachers? Can we say that the student has submitted the assignment, so the student knows all the skills? The student has learned all the skills? We can't say that. So what a faculty can do is making the assignment harder. The student knows very well to do AI. Then put that in use for something else. Give them real-time problems which is faced in India. Let's assume that your college is there. Your college may not have a smart aspect, but cheaply can the student do a sensor-enabled smart aspect? Get the help of AI. Let them do a project hands-on, not paper-based. When their dependency on AI is much, give them a hands-on project, give them a group project, give them a brainstorming topic. That has dependence on AI, but not 100% dependence on AI. Correct? AI generated assignments and code. Students can generate AI assignment. As I said, if you don't have Turnitin, you're not going to find out. There is also software called as a rewriting, which up to a certain extent works like Turnitin to find out how much of AI percentage is there. Fabricated citations and synthetic data. As I said, when you are using AI-oriented search, sometimes it will make up citations. As a researcher, you are supposed to cross-check whether they are really existing or not. Detection tools are not a long-term solution. What I meant is that there is a AI detection tool. So, ma'am, I will cross-check every time. But how long? People should have ethics. People should be morally responsible. Right? Academic integrity. You know what the word integrity means? Can anyone say what integrity means? What is integrity? Honest, integrity. Integrity is a kind of a habit. I am truthful in presence of a person or in the absence of a person. For example, my boss is there, I'm sitting and working. In the absence of my boss, I am not working. Is it integrity? It's not integrity. So, academic integrity is who you are when no one else is watching. Even when no one else is watching, if you are the same person, you have integrity. If not, you don't have integrity. If you don't have integrity, you can't expect that integrity from students as well. This is the same thing which goes at house as well. Children, up to a certain age, they try to mimic you because you are their environment, family, they are not going outside. So whatever you are trying to do, I am trying to be Papa, I am trying to do this, I am trying to be like Amma, I am going to cook. They are trying to imitate you. If you are not having integrity, you can generate using AI, but continuously if you are going to do that, students also will be this way. In fact, if you draw this thing, see, at this stage, the Gen Z generation can easily know whether you know the content or not, whether you have the technical knowledge or not. No matter your communication is not good, but still students can value you for the technical content you are giving, for the knowledge which you are translating, and for the motivation and improvement what you have. So integrity is who you are when no one else is watching. So detection tools should not be a long-term solution. That should come from within that. I use AI. You can declare it I use AI in this part, but not completely 100% AI generated. Okay? Rethinking assessment for AI context. Evaluate how the process goes step by step. Don't don't evaluate the product. You are faculty here, right? As I said, don't evaluate the final assignment what the student has given to you. Asking questions of how did you come up with the topic? In case if you are given the topic, how did you think through this topic? What made you think this? Why did you come to this conclusion? Some people are very good manipulators, students, even though they are not doing, they have the skill set to market. Sir, I did this, sir, I brought this, sir. Ask them one technical question, they are not. They have not done that. So, if you are a faculty, you are supposed to answer, okay, you are saying the sensor technology. You say that you have analyzed all the sensors. What sensors exactly you are talking about? Can you mention two sensors? If he has worked upon the sensors, he is going to tell you. If he has spoken to sensor, I don't look at the sensor, but I know the function, what it does. So, evaluate the process of the assignment, not the assignment itself. That is going to distinguish AI content versus what actually the student has done. Required drafts and reflective documentation, which can actually help students through the process. Then use oral differences and apply tasks. In the sense, ask the student, make them prepare for what you have produced. What you have done, have you done, why this is come like this, have you thought about it, why have you thought this way, why have you not thought that way. That's how thinking happens, right? If I simply know A for apple, we are taught like this. Now, other students are learning A for aeroplane. Perspectives are different. A can have different things. A can be ant, A can be apple, A can be aeroplane. A can be just A. Okay? So, different persons can have different perspectives. Just because they don't have a different perspective doesn't mean that it is right. You should question, use your expertise. Design context-specific assignments. If there is a context and you are specifically asking the student to prepare some, give solution for this. Then they will have thinking, not generalized assignments. It depends on your subject. I'm having a suppose university editor. My class has second year students, third year students, final year students, first year students. I can't give the same assignment for all. Why? Final year student is technically sound. First year student is still into transition. Second year student is adapting to the system. Third year student is already, I'm already in final year. I know the system. I know everything. So, according to what kind of population you have, what subject you are taking, what is the context, technical, management, arts, science, based on that you have to design your assignment. Get the help of here, but design context specific. That's what I'm saying. Context specific. Engineering, be context specific. What engineering is made up of? Design, parameters, data, variables, all those things. Algorithmic bias, I have already AI trained on bias data sets. As I said, AI does not have all the documents. It is only trained on documents which is openly available. So the answer is fairly biased. So let me ask you, like in your college there are like 100 plus faculty, but this faculty program has only 50 or half of the population. Now based on your response, can I go outside and say, my God, that college, this faculty are like this, can I say like that? I have not seen the rest 50% of the population at all. I can't come to that conclusion. So, remember, what AI is giving to you is biased. So, that's how I, in second session, have taught you about how to stress test that AI. What answer it is giving is fine or not. You're trying to say something is fine or not. Rated reviews it is fine or not. Regional language limitations, I have already covered this. Reinforcing inequality. When you're trying to say something, reinforcement means strengthen. You're trying to strengthen the model by doing certain things. Sometimes that doesn't happen at all. It doesn't listen to you much. Partially it will listen, partially it won't. Because of that, the answers can also be flawed. So you need to read and know whether what is saying is fine or not. Necessity of human oversight, that is the last thing. You as a human, you need to take a call whether this is fine or not blindly. Privacy, third party platform, ownership. Suppose let's assume that you are taking some data which is readily available online. which is licensed, you just can't take it and put it as your thing. Somebody can sue you tomorrow for that data. Commercially, like openly accessible, like common license, that is fine. But rest of the things you can't use. Suppose you are using, you are to attribute with them or get actual permission from the author, right? So you need to obey by your institutional rules for the regulations of research and ethics, whatever is there at institution level, at overall research level, etc. Right? I have given my own example of cognitive offloading. Automation of writing and coding, that is pretty much possible. For someone who is into software, they are handling lot of things. They can use automation and everything. But when you are in teaching field, minimal thing you can automate, but not all of those things. If you are not being productive, I'll give you a hack. Every day what you are doing, try to write that in a piece of paper. I'm coming to office at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 o'clock I'm taking a class, 10 to 10:15 I'm taking a break. After the break I'm sitting and doing this. Try to map your day. For 1 week you map your day. Give the data to AI. Ask where you're wasting time much. Try to utilize that. That is a great productivity hack. Or you give your regular timetable to AI. You ask AI that I want to, kind of learn something. Can you squeeze in 15 minutes every day for me to learn Python? Right? So here, reduced productivity struggle means not what I said, but rather, see, I had a lot of different tasks last week. Saturday, yes, I was overconfident that I have Saturday and Sunday. Unfortunately, it even happened. I'm unable to do. Now, why this overconfidence came? Because I know that OpenAI is there. I can generate these flows. I can do this. I can do that. What if last minute something can happen? Reduce productivity struggle. You, before AI, you are much productive. You know to do this. You're doing a lot of things. But right now, you're becoming some lazy mode. So it's you as a person, you need to choose. They will use AI. They are not good. How much? Right? Monotonous small task you will use. Whichever means delegation, right? Delegation means you are assigned it to a student and then you have to oversee it. Better you can get it. Check the marks of students, do this, do that, all those things. This is called superficial understanding. Sometimes what happens is, in the age of AI, in the age of content creation, everybody thinks they are pro in their subject. You've seen all the bloggers giving comment on economics, the market has crashed like this. Take an AI course, you will become a stock market, you can earn this much, you can earn that. Without this, you can do nothing just by keeping AI. Right? One flaw by AI, you are in loss. All your mutual funds are in loss. For that, you have to know some basics, right? Superficial understanding is always a visit. In the sense, I made this PPT. Of course, I have not gone through any of this content until this point and delivering it to you. But I have personalized examples of how I can manage this PPT so I can say something. But in-depth knowledge requires too much of reading, coming across different references. For that, for you to summarize very there. But you have to see whether that particular content is in depth. It's not very superficial level. I'm giving some statement. Yes, everybody are like this. But it may not be true. You need to read other things as well. Aim as argument not replace cognition. It's there to boost up your thinking, not to reduce your thinking. Remember that. As I said, reverse the goals. I am thinking of a concept like this. I am planning to execute like this. What are the pitfalls I am having here? What are the downfalls I am not seeing here? Where my idea is going wrong? Ask me questions relevant to that. And then you test yourself whether you know relevant things to that. Do I know? Do I not know? If I am not knowing, I should research. I should be researching. If you are getting a PhD, you know the subject. That's it. Avoiding a doctor of philosophy for you. Not like AI did it for me, I got a doctor of philosophy. Responsible use. Wherever you are using AI, please disclose that I have used this particular AI. Whatever is there, you need to verify. application, and as a faculty you should align your usage of AI with your learning outcome. Not like I'm out of the box in this particular university, I'm doing something, but it's not aligning either with my course outcome or program outcomes. That's of no use, right? So, student expectation, you should reiterate to student that it is there to augment their thinking, not as a substitution that AI will do this for me, last minute I will generate. How much they also have to do disclosure, and they also have to critically go through whatever they are producing, even if they are taking from AI. It is not only our role, it is also their role. Because tomorrow when they go to job, they are going to do the same thing. Whatever civil engineer does, entire construction is based on AI and their list of laws. Entire building will collapse, what that will lead into. I human life. You can't take risk in that. It is a similar thing, whatever you are producing using AI. You should be very responsible of what you are creating out of AI. Updated academic honors policies, wherever they are used, whatever they are used, whose content they have been inspired and taken that, followed it, everything, right? So, institutional also plays a major role, having policies, having how things can be taught, what technology, is there a committee? See, certain institutions have AI, your research committee is the one who also takes care of AI usage in research. So, it is their duty to take care of it. Do they have certain set of regulations? What is the regulations? See, usually at least in a country, I strongly believe that without penalty, nobody follows you know. What it means is that you come and sit here, you will get this. Okay, I make someone to sign the article, sorry, I get it. Now, the deal of two different people, someone who has gone through the entire process, why is the person who did not sit eligible for a certain credit? What is a course? A course is when you complete certain items, you are awarded that particular degree or you are awarded the certain credit. If a student has not completed, they are very furious about it. You have not completed it, you have done it. Similar thing for us as well. So when we don't have repercussions, if you are going to do it, first time warning, second time warning, third time, keep some institutional policy. So this all is going to be ethical dilemma, student So, give authorships, be original. Sometimes there is a ethical dilemma of, especially when I was making this PPT, I was ethically like, can I use AI too much? But I don't have time. But I want to deliver good content with you. I don't have so much of time on going to research the best. Take the good things, give it to AI, then generate, then make it. The PPT is made by me. But I summarize all the research with AI. I use some technicality from my side to gather this content and deliver it to you, right? Balance innovation with academic rigor. Whatever you are doing, do it with academic rigor. Have some innovation. There is technology to help you. Be innovative. Don't follow the same style. Students don't want that. With that, I am finishing my session. Thank you so much for all the co-sessions, patiently listening to me here and there. And that's the end of this whole program. Thank you guys.
Good evening to the family members, including the resource person. We are currently we have started the journey with only 10% of the numbers. But right now we have received nearly, we have reached up to 70% of the numbers because of the lack of the time, I think. But here particularly have technical capability. I think all the platforms what right now have given us, it can be helpful for the students. Of course, in turn, it will help for the students if we will taught them in such a way that in their level, not in the level of the PhD level, according to their level, according to their syllabus, because we have up to plagiarism check. So beyond the syllabus, if we will add these platforms, the students, because they are going to be leaving the institution after 2 years. So at that time, they can be familiarized with all the platforms. So they can make use and they can live their academic life in very beautiful technical platform. Thank you ma'am for providing all the platforms. Of course, if time permits, I am requesting the organizers to conduct some more sessions. It may give us more knowledge because right now we are just in the introductory part. So it is better for the staff members who are very much interested towards moving the technical side to apply in our own process. Thank you. Thanks for Jamie. Good evening. Thank you, ma'am, for your excellent explanation about this open debate. Actually, one of the data given, actually it is full of trade. The data is full trade for us. And finally, I came to one thing. So we cannot completely depend on that open AI machines. Instead of that, we have to use our AI also to the teaching. So for research also. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request all the ladies to please come forward. Madam.